I don't know if you heard, but they out here cloning dogs now. You can actually have your dog cloned. So
Yep.
let's talk about this. I want to see what you think about it.
I know somebody who's done it.
Really?
They cloned the Shorty Bull.
Really? So
Yeah.
I had first heard about it when they cloned like the first bully. Not that long ago, and it's just like first thing, if they're cloning dogs, you can't tell me they ain't clone. They ain't find a way to clone people, man.
Mhm.
but but in all seriousness, though, like, do you think this is a good tool that breeders can have now that they can clone their dogs? They can essentially replicate their dog to like 99.9% the same, or you think like it's not a good idea? What's your take on it?
There's no scientific data yet. That's the problem. The ones that I know that they've cloned, they have to keep the dog. The scientist or the laboratory that makes them, they
Yeah.
keep them for a certain amount of time to
Wow.
make sure it's healthy. And they normally make more than one at a time. You
I've
know,
heard that. Yeah, I've heard
the
that.
one that I know, I think there's two, maybe three that they made all, with. So they took like big old slabs of skin off the side of the dog,
Oh,
and then they take that DNA and they turn it into a dog.
wow.
And so the question I would have is, can it reproduce like it's dead? Or it's, I don't know what the hell you call it, point one or point two. I don't fucking know. But can the clone produce like the original? And if that's the case, cool. But, a lot of old timers, even me, I get trashed from some of my mentors that I froze semen off of like D-ball and stuff like that, that these dogs were dead 20 years ago. And their answer or their question would be, there's not a better dog today. I'm
Mm,
like,
this is
thanks.
true. This is
I
true.
mean, you've had the blood for 20 years. You didn't make better. Like, ooh, kick to the dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, I understand both sides of the coin. I
yeah.
really do. I understand that when we breed, we're supposed to make better. So if I didn't make better, I didn't make better with the blood, then maybe I shouldn't be breeding. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
a lot of those people, a lot of older guys that bred dogs, they don't believe in freezing semen and all that happy shit. I froze semen on the dogs that I have frozen on because of I was moving. So just in case an accident happened and moving, the dog was old when I bought it, so I collected it and froze it. So, the amount of money, just say you want to sell me, what's the oldest one you got?
The oldest
The
one,
blue, the blue
uh,
Brindle one?
the Blue Brindle.
I
Uh,
think he's blue. He's
no,
blue.
he's lilac. He's lilac. But no, I have an older one. I have an older one. I have an old, I think he's like 10 years old, standard bully.
I wanted to buy him. He's 10 years old. We test him. It's great. Well, I know that he's 10 years old. I'm on borrowed time. So I would collect him, freeze him, especially if I paid anything more than $5,000 for the dog. Shit. You know what I mean? I could have just paid you a stud fee and used him once and moved on. But I wanted to breed around him. It was smart for me to collect and freeze him at the moment. So as far as cloning him, I don't know, because there's no scientific data that the clone will reproduce as well as the original. There
This
isn't any.
this is my thing, right? So let's just play devil's advocate and say the dog was like line bred or inbred or something like that. That the dog was known to outproduce, or let me not even say outproduce, but produce themselves. Was a producer. Um, I don't know if I'd be all that crazy to clone a male. I feel like where cloning really is beneficial is in like a real high powered female that maybe either like had an accident, tragically died for whatever reason, or maybe you just didn't get the chance to breed her the way she needed to be bred or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like with the stud, if you do your proper due diligence and save plenty of frozen off of him, then why would you need to clone the dog? You know, and
The two dogs that I know, that the two people that cloned dogs, I know one for sure, and the other one told me he was going to do it. I don't know if he did it.
yeah.
They were both males.
Mm.
So I don't know if they can clone females. Maybe they can't. I don't.
Because that's all
I
I've been
don't
hearing.
know.
Yeah, that's all I've been hearing actually is that it's only been boys that have been cloned. I haven't heard of females, but to me, it's just like for example, I had a female that died a couple of years ago, and she was like, oh my God. Actually, I think I sent a picture of you of her. She was like a sable or like a chocolatey fawn
Yeah,
looking,
yeah, yeah.
and she was just like phenomenal. And it was just like she had a tragic accident, and she was only able to give me one litter. So I was like, that would probably be a dog where I would be like, okay, let me clone this dog so I could properly, breed her to the breedings I wanted to do and get those puppies. But as far as a stud goes, if the dog plays a key role in your program, to me it just makes more sense. Why not just like free semen? Does the dog have to
I,
physically be here?
I'm not. I mean, I know it's not cheap either.
Oh no, no, yeah, like
50 G's.
yeah, and like I know for example, like my buddy, our buddy June, he paid like I think it was like 1,500 to 1,600, and that's just for them to preserve the cells. So like if your dog dies, you pay, damn near whatever, close to 2 grand, and they'll store the cells for you until you're ready to clone the dog. This is what he told me because he went through that process. Weirdest thing, out of all the dogs he's had, I think it was like some Chihuahua or something that it was like his wife's dog, but it makes sense in the scenario. Like, and another big name stud is like, I asked him, I was like, why would you clone the dog? And it was as simple as, it was really more nostalgia. I just wanted the dog here. I wanted the dog back versus, hey, I do have straws off him. I could use the straws, but I just really wanted the dog back. So it's weird. It's almost like it's nostalgia, or is it really a tool that could be beneficial to a breeder,
I don't think there's any scientific answer for that right yet because I don't. I know they have to keep the puppies when they grow, and they have to keep them for a while to make sure that it's, for lack of a better understanding, it ain't broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a whole other concern because if you're dealing with a breed, like let's just use exotics for example, that is very difficult to maintain and care for when they're freshly born. I mean, are
I
these
wouldn't worry about. I would be more worried about, say, you have a Cane Corso, they're more defensive, aggressive. I don't know if I would want to, clone a 100 and some pound dog that don't know me.
yeah,
I
right.
mean, yeah, his dad might know me, but shit, I'm a stranger because you don't get them. You get pictures, and I think that's all they give you is pictures. You can't go and play with it in the lab.
I
I
think
think
it's like up until the
I think
dog's
it's
a
a
year
year
old.
old.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
year old, and you go pick it up. From my understanding, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I
so.
can call.
So let me ask you. So what circumstance would cause you to say I gotta clone this dog? Like, or you're just not there where it's like to you it's not. There's no reason that you would clone a dog.
Never.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Especially yeah, because I mean the expense and the data. I guess my whole thing is like I said, I
I mean,
think
I love the. So I mean, I had Kaiser. He was like my. I mean, bro, my kids, they carry his urn around in their room. That
wow.
was like their brother. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
hurt my kids dramatically when we put him to sleep, but I still wouldn't. I think that would freak my kids out more. Like, oh, here, Kaiser's back, and he's young. You know what I mean? Like, they'd be like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Last time I seen him, he could barely walk. You know what I mean? Now he's young and dumb again. Like, what the fuck happened here? I don't know. It's just, I don't think there's any. I don't have. I think it's more of a nostalgia than
Yes.
anything else. I don't
That's
think.
what I'm leaning towards. I think it's nostalgia. Like I said, if I had a female and they told me like that she would produce like the female that died, and it was like a female I was counting on to take my program to the next level, you know, maybe. But at the same time, like I'll give you an example. That female that died still had her mother, still had her father, just repeated the breeding. So for as far as for a breeder, I don't know if maybe the cloning is quite there yet. I mean, maybe in the future, But it's definitely interesting that we have the technology now to do that, and I guess we'll see how that helps breeders. Because I have seen, like, I seen a Frenchie breeder, he cloned his dog, and apparently he's selling stud credits or whatever the case it may be off of that dog. But I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I don't know
I
how
don't
long.
know that much. I'm not that advanced into it. I don't think I'll ever get that advanced into it. I don't see it. I mean, it's just another avenue of preservation, I guess. So, we can preserve a male, like you said, frozen semen. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is going to sound wrong. I mean, I have the semen. I don't necessarily need the dog. It's
Yeah.
easier for me. It's easier for me to care for the semen because all I got to do is pay $100 a year.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I mean, just say hypothetically you go through a divorce. Hey, you can have the dog. I understand that he's your best friend. I just need the semen. I freeze it. You can neuter him. Bada bing, bada boom. You know what I mean? So I don't understand. Like, if we're going through a divorce and we both want the same dog, all right, I'll get him cloned. You can keep the original. Maybe, I don't know. I don't see the. I mean, I know. I think it's more of a nostalgia thing because the people I know that did it, it's they have better dogs. They just want that dog back.
This is true. This is true. Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. I could see that.
I can understand if something like a really, really famous, we'll just say June, since you brought him up, paintball, super famous dog and made him a lot of money. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He cloned the dog so you guys would never know. That's one thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a whole other ball of wax. Like, all right, he got run over by a car. That's all right. I got another one growing in the lab. You know what I mean? But other than that, I don't see. I think it's more like he told you. Like, I got his frozen on this Chihuahua. It's just him. I just want him.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost like your mom and dad can have another kid, but your brother you grew up with all your life, he's still your brother.
Yeah.
Now the new one, I mean, granted, he's your brother too, but it's like, he's not my brother.
Yeah. No, I
I
get what
mean,
you're saying. And I think you made a good point. And it's the same thing that one of my mentors said to me was the fact that, like prime example, I asked him a question about females. How many breedings should you do on a female? And he said, well, well, he said something like, I only do 4. And I was like, why only 4? Well, he's like, if you couldn't get what you wanted out of her after 4 breedings, then you need to go
hang
back
it
to
up.
the drawing board. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
tell people the same thing. For me, it's 3. If I couldn't maximize her genes in three breedings, nah, I need to stop doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, so I think it may be similar in the cloning scenario where it should. I don't know, like, where do we draw the line as far as going backwards when everything should be going forward? Progression should be going forward.
Yeah.
But again, I think the frozen semen is a great tool. The only reason why, like I said, I think I would like the cloning thing for a female is because, to my knowledge, we don't really have the
No,
technology to preserve females. We could preserve
that's
the
correct.
semen of a stud, but other than what you had told me about where we could flush the egg or something like that.
That's in horses.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm just saying. Like, if we had the technology that would allow us to maybe like flush the eggs from a female and maybe freeze it or something, that maybe be a different story. But since we don't have anything for the females, that's why I'm like, maybe that's the only thing that maybe if over time the price becomes cheaper to do it, maybe it makes sense for
Let's look it up. Let me see if you can. I don't even know. I honestly don't know if you can clone. Can you clone a female dog?
Yeah, it makes me wonder. And then maybe it's a whole thing of like, yeah, maybe there's a reason. But like I said, I think that maybe in a breeder's perspective, having a female clone would make sense. But if it was a stud that was important to you, you should have had him frozen, semen frozen off of him, unless he was so young that you weren't able to freeze off of him and he had died prior.
Yeah. It says that, they cost about 50 G's. The number one question is, can you clone the same personality? They said it's too hard to predict that. That doesn't say anything about, as in far as sex, can you only produce males, or it doesn't say anything.
Yeah. it seems like, yeah, like you said, they don't know enough about it. And then as a breeder, we're already such a niche where, like, I guarantee like 99% of their customers are people who just, have the money to spend on getting their single dog that they have that they love back or whatever.
That's what it read. A bunch of NFL players.
Really, right? Yeah. See?
Yeah, NFL people cloning their dogs. And like
Yeah.
I think they're just cloning them for the, like you said, it's just that, I want my dog back.
Yeah, yeah. But like I said yet again, I guess I mean, hey, let's wait and see and how this unfolds. But I guess the best advice I would give to someone is just wait and see rather than jumping to spend your money if you're trying to use this as a tool in your dog breeding program and just, hey, free semen, so at least you got your studs covered.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, there's not enough data. So without having any data, I don't even know if the males were. I don't think there's a clone old enough to reproduce right now. Is there?
I
That's
d-
the question
I don't think so, but I think the
that
one,
we know of. There might be one, but we just don't know about it
yeah,
in our markets, as in like the bully community.
yeah, I think in the bully community, there's the guy George, one of the biggest bully breeders. You know,
Supposedly he cloned Miyagi.
yes, he cloned his stud Miyagi, and from what I remember, at one point in time, I think he was taking deposits to lock in for people to breed to Miyagi. So, especially, I mean, I think that was like a year ago. Yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But
So now whatever happened to the clone? I heard that he cloned him, but I didn't really follow up with it. I mean,
yeah,
did he really clone him, or was it just a publicity thing that somebody said he did?
I think he did, and I know close friends of him, and they actually told me that he actually has a different stud. His motto is kind of like, none of my studs can ever die. I'll just bring them back. So his like what they had told me was that he had like one stud that died, and he cloned him like three times. So he has like three of the same stud. And
Well, they
apparently,
don't clone. Well, you when they clone them, they basically just have a litter. That's basically what they do. They clone your dog, and they make a litter of just your dog,
yeah,
and they scientifically put them together, and then they basically put them in a female,
yeah.
and then it's something weird. Anyway, they don't just do one at a time. They do like two or three at a time.
Yeah. So he
I would
has
imagine he just bought all three of them.
yeah, probably. So he has three of them, and what he did was, I see pictures on his social media of him studying the dog out, shipping out the boxes. So I don't know. I think, like you said, it's probably everything is still too new, and the people who are cloning now are kind of like they're the case studies, I guess. You know,
Yeah,
they're,
yeah.
they're the examples of what's going to happen with this. But yeah, hey, I just figured it'd be interesting to talk about, our takes on it and so on and so forth. And I guess
Yeah, I mean, I think that I look at cloning like the generation before me looks at freezing semen. You know what I
mm,
mean? They look at me like,
yeah,
why free semen? We should be doing better. The way I look at cloning is like, why clone a dog? We should be doing better. It's the same concept. It's always going to be that same concept.
I'm actually going to say this though. This one breeder, he did say this, right? And I mean, it's a stretch, it's a reach, but so he has this dog, right? Uh, Very popular dog right now. Forget the dog's name. So he offered anyone out, yeah, well, it
Very popular, but I don't remember his name.
I know he's popular with like the younger breeders of my breed, but I
All
don't know.
right.
So anyway, he offered to anyone outside of his country could purchase a clone. So instead of sending them tanks of frozen, it's like, hey, for what you're gonna pay, instead of buying the dog, you can buy the clone of the dog. And for the price point that he would be selling the dog for, it kind of makes sense if that if
Actually, pretty smart, honestly. It's
yeah,
like, hey,
right.
we gotta buy this dog. We can both have this dog. Like,
Yeah,
what?
exactly. Yeah,
Hey, instead of one eye, you can have two. Instead of two eyes, you can have three. You know what I mean? I get
yeah,
it. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool, actually. That's actually a really ingenious idea if it
right.
works. if it works though. I mean, just think about it. We're talking about George for a minute ago. Would you buy Miyagi? You see what I'm saying? Like he had a lot of money offered for Miyagi. He's like, all right, well, cool, I'll make them.
Yeah.
I don't gotta breed them. I can just make them. There's 100% chance that it's gonna have the same DNA. You know what I mean?
True.
Boom, boom,
Because
boom.
an example, like obviously the dog has to sell for a certain amount for it to be worth it. So if the dog, like let's just say the person's buying the dog for 100,000, right? That has happened. $100,000 sales, it does happen. Not super uncommon. So if someone's buying the dog for 100,000, I'd be like, all right, well you live in Europe, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 50 of that thousand,
Clone it.
clone it, you get the dog, I have the dog, and I still made 50,000. That don't sound bad to me.
I mean, it's actually. I mean, I never looked at it like that, but that's pretty fucking smart. I mean, we'll just take paintball. You know, June, you brought up paintball. He's like, all right, well, cool. Let's make 3 of them, and I'll sell all 3 of them.
Yeah.
$100,000. I got 150 in it, and I make 150,000 selling them for 100,000. I mean, it's a pretty fucking smart idea.
And the guy had a contract where it was like basically like you run Europe, I run America. Like our studs can't, there's like a no competition clause or something like that. So no compete, whatever. So it's like I said, when you put it like that, it actually makes me say, you know what? Who knows? Like maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, dog breeding is gonna, be completely different in that aspect. Maybe that might be utilized more. Maybe now there won't be such a thing as like, we're importing semen. Some breeder in your country may just get a clone of the dog and start breeding the dog. I don't know.
I mean, think about it. Everybody wants paintball blood. Why not buy paintball? Even if, I mean, just think about it. Hey, you can buy paintball. Here he goes. You can have him for 250,000. Take 50,000 and clone his motherfucking ass.
Exactly.
Call that motherfucker paint spill or something. They don't gotta, I mean, they're gonna find a way. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, this community, they always find a way. And I'm not gonna take it away from any portion of that. When they find something that works and makes money, shit, they're gonna go elbow deep into it. They're gonna find a way. So I mean, it might have some benefits and it might have some drawbacks, and I guess we'll see. I won't ever do it personally. I'm just like I think I've heard it so many times in my back of my head. You should be making better. You should be making better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's true.
Almost like like I'm being scolded. Like you should have made better by it.
You know well, especially with the price point, it's gonna take a very. I mean, we're talking about, for a dog to even sell for 100,000, I mean, we're talking about
1%.
Yeah, the top like percentile. So for it to even work out in that scenario, I mean, it's a very special case. But as maybe like anything, as the price probably goes down or becomes more affordable to clone a dog, then maybe there's going to be more practical use for it. I'm actually like I said, in that scenario, it makes me wonder because I had someone from China offer me for one of my dogs, and I was like, you know what? That scenario would kind of work out because then they have the dog, I have the dog, and they do their thing over in China and do my thing over here in America. So.
Yeah, one thing I learned in life, man, freeze that fucker and sell him.
Yeah.
I mean, I've turned down stupid money for dogs, and I've made money on the dogs, but I could have made the same amount of money on the dogs and sold the dog because frozen semen. I mean, we know how to use it properly now. We're good at it, using it now. And we're talking in the late '90s, we weren't, but now we're way better at using it because we have progesterone. Everybody has a progesterone machine. I mean, there's one right there. You know what I mean? Like everybody has one, so we can get better at it, and we're better at using them. So, 100%. Shit,
No, I agree, man. I mean, there was certain issues as to why the sale didn't kind of go down, but I agree. I mean, especially now, just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, like now more than ever, breeders like myself have actually like learned how to do it. Like before, when I first got into the game, the only people you could go to get frozen semen was you had to go to like a reproductive specialist. Like you had to go to a vet,
ICSB.
Yeah, exactly. ICSB. Now it's like there's actual breeders who know how to do it. So I
Well,
think it's
ICSB, they're not all of them are veterinarians. They're just somebody who learned how to do it from just like the way you learned how to do it. Hey, this is how you do it. This is what you don't do. This is what you do. Same thing. I mean, the ones that I had done, and I had mine frozen. I can look it up. I want to say I had my very first one done in like 2001,
wow.
2002. And it was a lady in an RV at a dog show.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be awkward, but okay. I walked in there, she had everything set up, got the semen, everything right in front of me.
Wow.
It was fuck. So
So
I
those
had a few dogs frozen now, so yeah,
probably
I
and
think it's
probably
pretty cool.
in probably 10, 20 years, that's what they're gonna do with the cloning. Oh yeah, bring your dog and we'll skin scrape it. We'll do everything right then and there, you know?
Yeah, right in
But
an RV.
yeah, an RV, exactly. But anyway, man, I think this is a good topic. I just wanted to, share this with the people. Drop a comment down below, guys, with the next topics you guys want to see from us, what you guys want to see us cover, So anyway, guys, as always, hope it's helpful, hope it's useful. See you on the next episode. All right.
Peace.